Hi, everyone, and welcome back for Divorce and Relationships Decoded Question of the Week. And I am joined today by my fabulous co-host, Dr. Deborah Wilder. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing very well. How are you, Jennifer?
Good. I have a doozy of a question for you. It's one I've struggled with, so
Mm.
I'm going to get your take on it. Do we always have to forgive?
That's a question with, I think, many layers of an answer. My answer is no. Just the bottom line is no. I think there are a number of ways to look at forgiveness. There's like a spiritual forgiveness, which I guess is more for oneself than the other person. And I know I talk about this a lot with people I work with who've been hurt in relationships or things that have happened to them. And I talk about forgiveness versus acceptance. Because when we forgive somebody, we're basically trying to let it go to the point where we're not affected by it over and over and over again. Versus not accepting that the behavior was okay, but accepting that this is what happened and this is what this person does. This is what this person does. And it could be that they do it over and over again. So if you do something to me that bothers me or hurts me, and I say, I forgive you, and you keep doing it, then that puts me in a very uncomfortable position because if I'm forgiving you, how can I be bothered by the fact that you keep doing it to me? So that it kind of in simple terms. So I didn't make this up, but I read many years ago that another way to look at forgiveness is certainly if someone earns forgiveness, and there are four parts to earning forgiveness. One is recognizing, let's say for me, recognizing that what I did was wrong. Number two, feeling remorse for doing that. Number three, asking for forgiveness. And then number four, if ever given the opportunity to do it again, I'm not going to ever do it again. That qualifies me to potentially earn forgiveness from somebody. So forgiveness can be earned, or it could be I just forgive somebody and that person maybe never does it again, or I never see that person or have anything to do with that person again, and it maybe takes something off of me. So I'm not walking around like that. But some people can't get there right away. Some people, even if the hurt was from years and years ago, and I think when people are told you really should forgive, or I think it puts an unhealthy pressure on somebody because some things aren't forgivable, in my opinion. And there are plenty of people who would disagree. And by all means, if you can forgive, if you got it in your heart to forgive, that, better for them. That's good to be able to do that. But I think that might set up an expectation that is not really reachable in some cases, and that can really hurt somebody. Because if I have forgiven, but then I keep getting hurt, then what does that mean? Do I have to keep forgiving? Did I not forgive like the right way? There's a difference. So I always say to folks I work with when this comes up is maybe you start with acceptance. Again, not accepting that what that person did was okay, but accepting that this is what happened and this is what this person does, especially if it happens over and over again, or especially if it was so awful that the thought of forgiving someone, really, you just can't get there yet. What do you think about that?
I've struggled with forgiveness in my life a lot. And you're right. There have been times where people have said, you just have to let it go. Letting it go, I think, is different than forgiving someone. What my first husband did to me, I have forgiven it to protect myself. I was giving the forgiveness as a gift to myself to not stay stuck in that mentally, even though it was 20 some years ago. There's certain things I'll think back and it puts you back in that space, but I'll never forget what he did. And yes, there have been things I've had to let go of relationships and things that have happened. But I think I have come to a point in my life where I forgive people who have wronged me or have done different things, really just as a gift to me. Because the people that I know I have forgiven, they never felt that anything that they did was needing forgiveness. So I think that's how I go. Like I would like to think I have a very up close and personal relationship with God. And in my faith, I know that I'm not the person to judge and leave everything at his feet. And I really feel that way. But there are things with people that have happened. And yes, I have forgiven them to protect my peace and to move on and not stay stuck there. But then I'm not around them. I don't put myself in that position for them to hurt me again, to your point, because if you do, well, shame on me. You knew what they were going to do. You knew that they were capable of it. You knew there was no level of remorse. So forgiveness has been more of a gift to myself. That's how I view it. And if my number one relationship outside of God should be with myself, then when I make myself a priority, then I have to protect my peace at all costs. So I think it's very easy for some people to say, we just need to let that go based upon what has happened to some people. That irritates me, I think, more than saying you just need to forgive them, move on, let it go. There are things in my own life that were life altering that is very hard to let it go. It just seems like it's very trivial to say that, but forgiveness for me is a gift to myself.
And that's it. That's it. So if you can give yourself that gift, if you're able to do that, really able to do that sincerely, that has got to lift a bunch of weight off of someone's shoulders and heart. But if there's an expectation that I should forgive, and that's where I'm coming from, that's hard to do, I think, when it's a should rather than a natural part of the process.
I agree completely. Forgiveness is hard. That's a touchy topic, I think, for a lot of people, because as I've worked with thousands of women over the past 2 decades, and some of the stories that people have shared with me have just been unbelievable. And there are things that are just, how could you ever forgive, or how could you ever move past that? If you're watching this and you're somebody who is really struggling with that, please get a hold of Dr. Wilder. She does amazing work helping people move through things in their life. So please make sure that you reach out to her.
I would say, if anything, too, get to the place perhaps of accepting that this is who this person is, this is what he or she does. And then at some point, you might be able to move to forgiveness, whether it's the situation or the person. But if it doesn't happen and you feel forced to do it, then it's really not going to sit right. And then I think what happens, if someone has said or believes that they have forgiven, but then these feelings keep coming back up, sometimes the bad feelings turn inward. What's wrong with me? I forgave that person already. Why am I feeling these things again now? So just keep forgiveness as a very special thing that may or may not happen, or may take a longer time to happen, or if it does, or when it does, it's just be mindful of how you're affected by that. And as you say, yeah, forgiveness certainly does not mean forgetting at all. You'd be wise not to forget some of these things.
Thank you for that question. We really appreciate it. And if you're watching this and you're really struggling with that, please reach out to us. Please go right out to Dr. Wilder's website. You can schedule a time to talk with her. She'd be definitely happy to help you through whatever it is that you're going through. So thank you, as always, my friend, for being here and for your incredible advice and insight. And we will be back again next week for another question of the week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.